to week 16 of the SmashPod. Chris is back after a couple of weeks with just myself. Chris is back from his trip. How was your trip?
It was good. Guatemala was amazing. Australia was fantastic, and seeing a concert on the steps of the Sydney Opera House was pretty. I won't say a once in a lifetime experience, but if you live in Australia, it's probably like a weekly experience. So, yeah, it's a very American thing to say, but it was cool. And of course, spoke in an Australian accent for like 3 days after we got back, and that's slowly gone away. So, I think vacation's officially over.
Um, who'd you see?
It's a I don't know if band is even the right term, but it's a group, a thing, a orchestra called Symphony, like symphony but synth,
Okay.
and they do a lot of cool they've got some singers too, but it's the whole symphony. They play all these like rock songs and stuff, but not even in like an orchestral style. It is very like rock and electronic type music. There's lasers. There's I don't know if I'd really say dancing, but I mean you could. It's a guy like all got a beat to it. They went viral a couple of years ago for their rendition of like Darude Sandstorm, but they Mr. Brightside, Bohemian Rhapsody, a few other like really popular songs and some really good singers who are with them as they performed Sydney Opera House, and it was awesome. We went in, we were pretty close to the front, and the music was great. The light show was, and all the lights were great, and had a good time. It was funny though because most of the audience was probably older millennials in our demographic, and we were our childless still and on vacation. I do think a lot of the people there were parents who had babysitters for the kids. And
Nice.
so there were some elder millennials having, walking around carrying like 6 beers, having the time of their life. You could just tell. It's like when we were seeing people like walking past us, some people multiple times,
Yeah.
and we were laughing at our generation trying to prove that they can still, reach back and have a big night out.
Yeah. You only have one or two of those nights, every so often. You gotta make them count.
Yeah, and the other thing with Cynthia, it was probably a good compromise one because I feel like you and Linda, the couple nights here you guys get, like if it's a concert, it's like who chooses the concert. So I know you've gone and seen Taylor Swift for Linda, or is it for Linda? I don't know, maybe you really want to see her, but or she goes to see something you want. But I think this was one all the couples enjoyed, so it was a good one.
Nice, nice. And then are you doing anything for the upcoming holidays? Anything around there?
A lot of football, but with family. So with Micah's family this week, and with my family right after Christmas and for New Year's. So looking forward to it. How about yourself?
Yeah, we're just staying out here in Chicago, so probably the same, not too much. My parents are coming in, so we're probably just gonna keep it pretty low key around here. But yeah, a lot of football.
Well, on the other
Saturday
side, we
games.
officially have our place in Chicago set up. So got the new couch and everything. So we'll have you over for a playoff game. You've been graciously hosting everything. We'll have you over for a playoff game. We'll see if my Niners and your Eagles are both make it this year, and we'll do something to celebrate and watch a game.
Yeah. Um, I will say, if the Eagles don't make the playoffs, that would be the big like they would basically have to lose twice to the Commanders without Jaden Daniels, which granted, crazier things have happened, but losing to the Commanders twice in the next 3 weeks. The Bills are sandwiched in between there, so that's going to be going to Buffalo, I think, and playing there is going to be tough. But again, 2 games against Marcus Mariota, though, you know.
Here's the thing: it's Philadelphia, right? You guys threw snowballs at Santa. Philly is a tough place. They are a mean place. Like you guys literally just won the Super Bowl, but if you lost to the Jaden less Commanders twice, I think fans would boo and potentially like chase people out of the city.
Yeah.
As they're like, "What do you want from us? We literally just won a like some cities you win the Super Bowl, they like erect a statue. Philadelphia, 1 year later, like your coaching staff's going to be jumping on a train out of town like a bunch of hobos.
Yeah, I mean, people were so pissed even when we were like 8-2. Um, and and yeah, I don't know. We will see. Ultimately, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think like people have talked about all the crazy stuff around the team, but no one's really talked about what I think is the real reason, which is just our O-line's been hurt. Like that's I think really the underlying reason for everything. Like our O-line hasn't isn't been as good as it used to be. As a result, the running game's not as good. As a result,
Yeah.
you don't have as strong, Saquon's had a relatively, I don't know, normal, I would say down year maybe compared with
I mean, a
last
bit worn
year.
down. So we had like 370 touches. We've seen this before with running backs. And look at, I mean, it happens all the time. There's a huge list you can find online. But as a Niners fan, happened with McCaffrey. He had that stellar season, MVP season, as we made a trip to the Super Bowl. And then, last year couldn't even make it out of training camp.
Yeah.
Got a year of basically rest, and has come back this year. Maybe not quite, MVP of 2 years ago, but looking much sharper again. So Saquon may just. I don't want to say it's good that he. Yeah, I don't want to say it would be better for him to get hurt, but he may have even benefited if 8 games into the year he tweaked a hamstring and just said, "Okay, I'm going to rest for like a season, just let my body heal up."
Yeah.
Uh, I think the thing we're seeing is there's a little bit of a pattern, and teams are getting smarter to it. Particularly once your quarterback's off a rookie contract, teams just get expensive. And for a while, you can plug the holes with veterans, but eventually you just have enough. And put a salary cap game, cut some players, replace them. Eventually, you get enough dead money, or just your team gets old enough that it just doesn't work. And I think the Niners did it this year, but the Eagles did it before between Super Bowls. The Rams did it. Now they're looking great again. They just sometimes have to take that year or two where you just reset your cap and you say,
Yep.
clear out we're going to take some dead money hits. We're going to clear out people just aren't producing anymore. We're going to draft a bunch of young players, get them experience, and reset our cap. And once we do that, we can bring in a couple of high priced veterans again to like fill the most pressing holes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the Niners have been doing that this year, and I think surprising success we've had given that and the injuries. But we're setting ourselves up, and it may just be that you guys are still really good this season, but you may be approaching a spot the next year. So we got to,
I
bite
think
the bullet and let a few guys go and just kind of reset your cap. Because at least,
yeah.
Hurts is young enough. A few of your other like key players are young enough that if you can replace some of the older guys, you still got come back compete again.
Yeah. I think 2029 is when we're going to get hit. I think we have something like 100 million in deferred payments or something. And 2029 is going to be the year that Eagles are going to be like 2-16 or so, or 2-15 or something like that. But yeah, yeah, it'll be. I mean, we have a couple more years, and then yeah, we're going to need a hard reset of things. But it's been a
Maybe speaking of dominant and speaking of not needing to reset a salary cap, um, what happened this week? I don't think that the players out there were any match for you and I think we need some of our players to step up.
Oh yeah, for a campaign. Yeah, I
Campaign.
think across was it the 8 bosses? I think in total like 11 people beat us out of
Yeah,
across
we
all 8
to
games.
be fair, 2 weeks ago we got smacked by the users. People came through, the players came through and just crushed. I think like something like 15 people beat the game and beat the Griffins. I was embarrassed. Did not help that Hurts had like 2 points,
Yeah.
but this week was the revenge. Haibo and Chris's revenge. It was
Yeah.
just across the board. Probably the best record we've had in 2 years in campaign. So to all the players out there, step up this week. See if you
Yeah.
can knock us down a peg or two. Because right now we're both feeling very confident.
Yeah. It's been an interesting week. Have you heard of like there's a rumor going so obviously Tua, right? Tua bench, no more. Not even going with Zach Wilson, going with Quinn.
Uh,
Uh, which I guess I don't know. I guess he's a rookie, right? Might as well see what you have. Zach Wilson's not it, right? It was
Still
like,
crazy in a couple levels. Like think back to that draft. That was supposed to be a quarterback draft, and it was Lawrence who's finally starting to look really good. To his credit, Zach Wilson number 2, and then the big debate when the Niners trade up is should it be Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or Mac Jones? Obviously, Mac stellar job as a backup for the Niners this year. Finally, like 5 years in his career, but even that was coming off the bench, the second stringer. We'll still see if he can go like start for another team, but certainly not off to the races in the way that maybe people thought. And I think even beyond that, there are a couple of guys, but it's just interesting how that draft did not work out.
no. Um, um, I've heard people bandy around the idea of the Browns and the Dolphins trade. Have you heard this?
Now, what
Uh,
is it?
Someone proposed that the Browns and Dolphins should trade Watson and Tua. Um, it's like,
Two different kinds of mental issues. I
yes,
think that's.
trash for trash.
Well, crazy is how much the Dolphins valued him, right? Like, it's such a weird thing that only exists in sports. Like, can you imagine like doing this in your family? Like, you love your son. He's a bright kid, and can you imagine if his like grades dropped a little bit when he got to like fourth grade, and you're like, Chase, I'm sorry, like you were crushing second and third grade, and your mom and I thought you had so much potential, but like I don't know if you took too many hits. I don't know if we, should have given you that coffee at your grandma's, but you're just not living up to it. We're like trading you to Michael and Felicia, and
Yeah.
for a kid to be named later, future pick.
Yeah, I don't, I mean,
Your
both
school's
should be.
expensive. You're a cap casualty. We fear we can
Yeah.
reset our budget.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they made some pretty good arguments about why the two teams should do it, but I mean, both like obviously, both players really shouldn't be playing in the league. Watson for obvious reasons. Tua, I feel bad every time I feel like I'm slowly watching somebody die whenever
Yeah.
Tua plays. Like it's not even it's just like you just feel bad. It's like you should not be playing football. You should not have been playing football like 2 years ago.
No, 100%. This is probably like watching me drink beers at your bachelor party. You're like, I'm just slowly watching you die over the course of the night, and now you're sleeping. But good. No, it's sad watching Tua. I feel like I do agree. He's made his money. He had a nice career. But at what point do you say you've made enough, and do you hang it up just to? And it's got to be hard. This is what he knows. He's worked really hard. He's elite. Certainly, even if you say he's not an elite NFL quarterback anymore, in the grand scheme of the tens of thousands of people that try to play pro football, he is one of the handful of elite quarterbacks, like anyone who's like actually rostered in the NFL. It's got to be really hard to walk away. But if you want to have a
Yeah,
break, like if you want to be able to think, if you want to have a good quality the rest of your life, at some point you gotta hang them up.
yeah. You know who's not hanging them up and coming back? Philip Rivers.
I am so sad. I really thought that Seahawks Colts matchup last week. Speaking, yeah, I definitely had a few lineups with Philip Rivers, Goldfish Memory, Seahawks, takeaway cars, sacks, everything. I thought that like that was just going to be like 1,000 points. Is going to set a record. But he, was fairly conservative. They didn't, have him out there gunsling or anything, and they kept the game close, so you don't have to take a lot of big risks. But he was surprisingly competent for a guy who hasn't played in several years.
Yeah. 10 kids. You see the thing? It was like, first off, I knew he had a lot of kids. I didn't know he had 10 kids. Um, that is an insane number of, I mean, having two kids, I cannot imagine having three kids. 10
Well,
is
that's
a,
why he had to come back, right? Like, how expensive kids are. He looked at his budget. He's like, man, I'm just burning through this NFL money. I should have stopped at 3.
someone said, I saw somewhere it was like because he played a game, his health insurance now resets for another 5 years. So it's like His
He
health
just come back
benefits.
every 5 seasons to like keep his health insurance going.
Yeah, yeah. It was like, hey, you know, health insurance for 10 kids, that's a lot of money. Someone like priced it out. It was something like they were paying like 200 grand a year for health insurance for like a family of, with 10 kids. It was like,
Wait, so
come on.
who would be next to them?
Who would be what?
Who's the next quarterback? Who's the next old quarterback who should like come back?
Tom Brady. Did you see Tom Brady's comments? Tom
He
Brady,
said that he could. Yeah, yeah.
he was like, I would still kick ass if I played. Um, interesting. Like,
All right. Something just happened. I hear
oh,
yelling.
so
Sorry.
on the Seahawks game? Let's see.
I hear my father-in-law. I don't know if we got that on the screen. It may be on video, but I heard a loud shout from the other room.
There, let's see what happened. It's overtime. It looks like, yeah, overtime. Rams.
I think it's gonna be whatever refreshes after this quorum play. So on the refresh, we will see what it says. In the meantime, maybe we move towards a wrap up here with the big thing being if you for every player who hasn't the Christmas cards, holiday cards, and all Christmas are now in the game for this week. Maybe we can each pick a favorite before we call it and go catch the end of the game
Yeah.
live. What is your favorite of the holiday cards?
Um, I mean, just art
Stafford
wise.
intercepted. That's what happened.
Which one?
Stafford intercepted.
Oh, oh, nice.
All right, guys. So what's your favorite of the holiday cards?
Um, Honestly, I'm a big fan of necessary roughness. It's just like, I think it just, first off, it's like a cute card, and then it's not quite. I mean, I know the intent of it was you were trying to have the gingerbread man stab him, or getting stabbed by a candy cane, right? Like that was supposed to be. I mean, that doesn't come across as what's happening. I don't know. I love his facial expression of just like
I mean, he's
being
pretty clearly being stabbed by the candy cane. Now, viewers, you decide. You let us know. That to me is a very clear stabbing. We could
really.
use a little bit of red frosting, but otherwise, I think the stabbing is there. That might be my favorite too. But since you picked that,
Speaking of which,
um,
also like so if we're gonna play this on somebody, defense. I mean, this is a tough card to play because holding someone to single digit scoring is always really tough. If I were to pick someone this week, I would take the Texans versus Raiders game. I mean, the Raiders, they
yeah.
were just shut out by the Eagles last week, and the Texans have a really good defense. And so, if I were to pick any team to hold somebody to single digits, um, I would probably take Texans Raiders this week. If I were to pick.
Well, that is a good one. I do like the two Santa ones. This one's from my homie and Turbo Boost. Both kind of cute cards. Nothing like Santa on Rudolph. I think the imagery there is
Uh,
really cool. And then
Christmas
the
Rudolph.
a little further down is the Turbo Boost, which is just Fast and the Furious style Santa in a sleigh with the nitro. This how do you think he managed to deliver to every house in one night? I think he's got a little bit of extra help.
Who do you have for Turbo Boost this week if you were to play?
It's been a little bit of a tough one. We've not seen. At the end of the day, probably would have to go for Josh Allen. I think he's been the most consistent rusher with Jaden being hurt. With Hurts, not rushing quite as much this year, getting quite as many of the touch pushes as last season. I think Allen is the dominant rusher at the moment.
And randomly, Mahomes this year. I mean, he just got hurt, but Mahomes had like 8 rushing touchdowns or something this
Yep.
year. A crazy number. But yeah, I would agree. I mean, Josh Allen, I think probably. Who are they playing? They're playing Cleveland this week. So,
Oh, I think they undid the interception too. Interesting.
oh, they. Oh. Hmm.
All right. Well, on that note, maybe we get watch the end of this game. But if you haven't played yet, go set your lineup. Use the new Christmas cards. And I think we will have one more recording next week. But well, that's just before Christmas. But anyone starting to celebrate Hanukkah here, happy Hanukkah to you. Happy Kwanzaa, happy whatever you celebrate. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. See you next week. And yeah, we'll see how much of overtime we can catch left.
Oh, hey,
All right.
go Seahawks. If they win, my Niners have a chance to still win the division. So I know I'm rooting for.
Yeah. All
All right.
right. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.